Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about tonight is legitimately a worst nightmare scenario. We had a woman in Chicago who had her child at home call police, and they actually told her, "We have no one to send, we're not coming, we'll see you in 2.5 hours," while someone was burglarizing her house. Guys, this is a story we need to talk about. It might be a little bit different than breaking news, but I guarantee you this is just as, if not important, to land our plane for passing the Second Amendment along to the next generation and bringing more people to our side, because this is a real world example. And place yourself in this woman's shoes, and almost anybody can see the point. Everything will be linked in the description box below. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Please send this one out and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. All right, beautiful people, listen. This is one of the most impactful stories you hear infrequently. This doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it really lands the plane, okay? What I'm about to share with you is something that happened in Chicago. Now, some backstory. Chicago has defunded police. Chicago has removed police and common sense reimagining of policing. They've done more gun control than most other cities in the United States, and yet this is the outcome. You are left vulnerable in the light of someone's political agenda. Gun control. Your rights sacrificed for political agenda and power. Check this out. Listen to this. Chicago mom left waiting hours for help after 911 call for home invasion. "We have no units to send you." Okay. Put yourself in that scenario. I know some of you right now might be thinking, "I got this." Imagine someone you loved in that scenario. Imagine your kid was home and you walked across the street or down the road to the grocery store real quick and you have a young teenager. So imagine all the different scenarios that could play out here, and the police answer, of which was promised to protect you. That's why you can trade your guns in and all your rights in, because the police will protect you. "We have no one to send you." Listen to some of the things that this dispatcher said while this mother called for help. Again, this should hit pretty close to home and reinforces our whole point that we say every single day on this channel. A Chicago mom who called 911 during a terrifying break-in was left on her own for hours, with dispatchers telling her to call her local representative to demand more police funding. Doesn't get more real than that. Let's continue. Michelle called the emergency hotline 6 times after coming face to face with 2 masked bandits, only for the strained supervisor to tell her the city's severe budget cuts had left them with a bare bones staff. Quote, "A gentleman got on and said, 'Sorry to say we have no units to send you.' Then there was an awkward pause," Michelle told NBC Chicago Wednesday, declining to share her name or face while the would-be robbers were still on the loose. That makes total sense. "He also recommended that I call my alderman," who is their local politician there in Chicago, "and I said, 'Why?' And he said, 'Encourage him to hire more police.' The dispatcher also asked me if I would consider defending myself, if I had a weapon or considered getting one." Okay, the point at which you consider getting a defensive option for yourself is probably not when they're actually breaking in and you're calling police and they're telling, "We got nothing for you." I mean, I'm not trying to make light of this. This is a very terrifying situation. We all have families. But imagine that this is a direct reaction and response to the politicians that they voted into office in Chicago. I'm not saying this person, that's a totally different thing. What I'm saying in general, the policies that have brought us to this point where trade in your gun rights and the police will take care of you. Then the next step after the gun rights are gone is police are bad and they're discriminatory, so we need to remove them in order to reimagine policing. Now, you're left with no gun rights and also no police. You are at the mercy of the politicians, who also are not there to do anything. The point of this and why it's so powerful is because we have a Second Amendment right in this country. We have the ability to affect our local representation and our state representation. We have the power to put the people in office to either support or completely whittle away at our gun rights. What you're seeing right here is an extremely raw example of what happens when you do the latter. People have died for the rights that we have. Whether you love everything about everything, it doesn't matter. The fact remains, people have died believing they would give something greater than themselves, and the result is the rights of which we hold dear. The people in Chicago who are running it, the left, is completely taking your gun rights and trading you for a promise that is ringing hollow. This mother who had a child present just felt that extremely brutal knife's edge of reality. And I don't want this to happen. I want her to be defended. I want a police force to be funded to prevent this from happening. By goodness, I want criminals to stay in jail. Weird, I know. Archaic am I. But let's continue. Got one more thing for you. A dispatcher promised the frightened mother that help was on the way and directed her to walk outside. But officers didn't arrive, Michelle said. After an hour and a half and 6 phone calls to 911, she finally demanded answers from a dispatch supervisor who indicated the slow response was due to the city's lackluster police department funding. It would be another 2.5 hours before cops finally arrived. When you guys are talking to your peers, when you're talking to people who might be on the fence whether you need gun rights or you don't need gun rights, this example right here and why I'm covering it is so poignant to our point. It is so incredibly powerful of a real world example of what your family could be put in if you continue down this road. These are the examples that win us the side every single day. You cannot refute this because it's a real world implication, and we all have families. Even Democrats have families. Understand what this is. This is terrifying. But also understand that this is how we turn the tide back to our side of defending our rights and passing our rights on to the next generation, because stories like this are impactful and powerful, and that's why you need to send this everywhere. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.